Big update. Scott Del Fuego has made 3 new songs on his guitar, and one of them is going to be called $3 Bill. And I'm sure that you'll be able to guess who it's about when the time comes. One of them is going to be about someone that is incarcerated, and I think he's using the song Jailhouse Blues. And another one, I don't know, maybe Scott can come on and tell you what the third one is going to be about. So what we're going to talk about today is it's a big update. It's a big update. The update is I've never seen anything like this before, except when I lived in the Florida Keys, and I moved to a location on a block, 31 North Channel Drive, Key Largo, Florida, Ocean Estates, where in front of my house, about once or twice a day, a car would pass in front of my house. Maybe 3 cars in a day. And then there was a lobster trap lot down the block where maybe a dozen trucks or so would pass by, but they were all locals. Then they built a restaurant called the Pilot House, and then there were maybe 50 or 60, 70 cars a day. Then they built a big marina, and then there were 150 cars a day, the Pilot House Marina. And that's pretty much how it was when I left. However, when I moved to BOHOL, I looked for a similar location where there would be minimal traffic, minimal. I don't want to live where there was a lot of traffic, mostly from the noise, not so much the noise of the vehicles, but the dust it creates on these dirt roads. And we have dirt in front of my house here. So, plus, I wanted to live near a beach, and the beach itself makes dust. And when I first moved to BOHOL, in front of this, where I live now, next door is the Stanley House. I was the first tenant in the Stanley House. So there were no other hotels on the block at all. None, 0. Now there are about 8. The amount of people that would pull up in front of the house was 1. The landlord would come with a man, and they'd work on the house occasionally, on the Stanley House, and then they'd leave. And it remained like that for years. Maybe in 2016, they started putting some pump boats out in front of the house. Pump boats are the kind of boats that they go diving from. Maybe there were about 8 or 10 before the lockdown. Now, during the lockdown, which turns out to be unnecessary, but had you said that during the lockdown, you lost your YouTube channel. If you were a doctor, you lost your job. If you were in charge of a hospital, you lost that position. But now they're coming out with all kinds of truth. But what I've been saying from day one, it's basically, and this has been proven, that the statistics for flu deaths were about 90,000 people a year in America. And when COVID came, the flu deaths went down to about 0. 0 is pretty much what they went down to. So those 90,000 deaths were attributed to COVID, which makes me right and a lot of people wrong, that the COVID virus was not as hazardous or deadly as they once said. In addition, I said, and it was proven at the time, that if you were on a motorcycle and you had an accident and you died in a motorcycle accident, they tested you for COVID to see if the virus was in your system. And if it was considered a COVID death. That's been proven 1,000 times over. So the only person on YouTube that was really saying that in the Philippine genre was myself. I don't remember anybody else saying anything like that. Because you got a strike, and I did get strikes. From the time that COVID started to the time it ended on my Hoodwink channel and my Alpha Male channel, I probably got upwards of 4 or 5 strikes for talking about that stuff. So when one strike would end, I would just make another video. I knew I was going to get one. However, now it's all come out that it was Bill Gates said that the statistics of mortality statistics were not as high as we thought they would be. So he made $500 million. He don't give the money back because he made money during the lockdown. And so the pharmaceutical companies made about $7 trillion. More billionaires were made during the course of the COVID virus than at any other time in history from pharmaceutical people sales, from pharmaceutical sales. $7 trillion in pharmaceutical sales for an untested, not proven, not even proven to be effective antivirus vaccine. So, you people have been bamboozled. You've been hoodwinked by an angel. And the angel happens to be, in this case, satanic in nature. Let me get over here and see if there's any comments. I'm probably not going to answer a lot of comments, so probably be best that you don't even try. If I don't know you personally, probably not even going to address your comments. That's probably not going to happen. And for the people that want to comment, you can comment. Just keep them clean. And keep them positive. Just keep them clean. And keep them positive. Just keep them. So let's go over here. No comments. That's about how much super chat I've been getting. That's about how much super chat's been passed around on YouTube the last couple of weeks. I don't see a lot of super chat happening. You know, we work hard. Even the people that put out nonsense, it gives you something to do. If you had to go to a movie and you had to pick your butt up and put it in a car and travel 10 miles to go to a movie, and then travel 10 miles back, that's 20 miles. It would cost you $1 a mile to run your vehicle over the course of the vehicle's lifetime. That would be $20 it would cost you. Then it would cost you $15 or $20 to go into the movie. That's $40. And if you had another person with you, that's $60. So when we put on content, and I mean all of us, when we put on content, and you're sitting home on a Saturday night watching us because you don't want to spend $60, it's reasonable that you give Super Chat to the people that are pumping out live streams. It's a reasonable request. We put in the work, we pay for the electric, we pay for the internet, and in this case, we make a show, and I give you information about BOHOL's newest, best secret dive spot. That's actually going to be the dive capital of BOHOL, which will be gone, completely gone. It will disappear in 3 to 4 years. Gone. There is no way, there is just no way. And you could bring this to the BOHOL Tourism Board because they are aware of the statistics that's going on here. Even though they're doing it in a proper and legal fashion, and it appears that most of the people seem to be following the rules, set by the Coast Guard. There is no way, send this to the tourism board. There is no way that the reef at Dragon Head and Talisay Beach can handle 1,000 tourists a day. It's just not gonna happen. We have the most magnificent reef right outside my house, 350 feet from the shoreline. At low tide, the reef where I am is in a foot of water, 2 feet of water. And at high tide, 6 or 7 feet of water. As you go down the reef, it gets deeper. At high tide, the beginning of the reef. The far side of the reef could be in 14 feet of water in front of my house. Then down in back of the Bellevue, the reef starts out at about 12 feet and goes down to 26, 28 feet. It's a beautiful reef. It has every type of flora and fauna that a reef should have, including elkhorn coral and fan corals and all the different varieties. It's all going to be gone. It'll all be gone in 3 or 4 years. It's all going to disappear because no matter how careful the divers are, 1,000 people a day diving on a half a mile of reef. It won't take that kind of traffic. It just won't. I've seen it happen when I lived in Key Largo. And in Key Largo, the people were professional, very professional. I'm not saying they're not here, but they don't have anything like the rules that we had in Key Largo. So you people that are divers and that you live in Bohol, I suggest you get here and get out on a boat and see this reef, because I give it 3 years and we will have a half a mile of dead rock in front of my house. Even though they say they're not dropping anchors on the reef and that the buoys go down on a rope to a pin in the coral. When asked off camera, does everybody out there have a buoy? And the guy just laughed. So the dive masters know there's not enough buoys. I counted 32 boats this morning. Big boats. And then there were about 20 smaller boats. So that would make 50. I don't think there's 50 buoys out there. But even if there is, the traffic itself on the reef won't allow 1,000 people a day. And that's how many people are going out to this reef. So I went from living in an area where there were 1 or 2 or 3 cars a week in front of my house to now there are 150 to 200 vehicles that pass back and forth. Even jeepneys, 30-passenger jeepneys. And now, today, King Aces has a bus tour from Dowie with 20-passenger buses. Literally, air-conditioned 20-passenger buses are now pulling up on the beach. And you'll see that in a video I have loading. So the Philippines has come back from the COVID virus lockdown to a degree I've never seen. The amount of boats, the increase of percentages of boats. And this is all due to a man came down here, and I will not say which man, with a track hoe, a digger, about 7 months ago. And he cut out a street big enough for buses to go down. And the road on the map has a plan for a paved road where he dug it out. So he may have worked with the county on that. I don't know that he did, and I don't know that he didn't. But before that, there was a path about 5 feet wide. 2 people could walk down the path, and if a motorcycle was coming in the other direction, you had to walk to one side. So now there's an 18-foot path where buses are going down the road. So I have a video coming out, and I'll show you there's hundreds of boats on the reef. Now, there was 50-something boats right in front of my house, but when you look down the reef, there's another 50 to 80 boats down at the other end of the beach. So there's no way that this reef can handle that kind of traffic. And this is a proven concept, because what happened when I moved to Alona Beach in 2014, about maybe you might see 100 people on the beach in a day. There were only just a few businesses. And if it wasn't tourist season at Christmas, you wouldn't see anybody. Sometimes you might go into 10 restaurants and you might see 5 people dining. Now, the beach is so crowded there's not enough room to put a towel on the beach. But the reef, that was a live reef right off Alona Beach. That reef is just one big long rock. No flora, no fauna, no fish, no fan coral, no elk coral, no life, period. You might, on occasion, see a frogfish, because they live in the rocks. Maybe you'll see a yellowtail snapper, maybe, but not a lot of them. And when I first moved to Alona Beach, you might see 4, 5, 6,000 yellowtail snappers, and the reef was a live reef. That's gone. It's a rock now. It's a coral-colored rock, brown rock outside Alona Beach. There's no more life. And that'll happen to Pang Lao at Dragon Head eventually. So, and that's all. It's like an inside joke when you talk to the dive masters. Does every boat have a pin? Does every boat have a pin and a buoy? Oh, yes. Really, every boat. And they laugh. They think it's funny because they know the rule is you can only go out there and hang on to a buoy or drift. And I've seen people dropping anchors. So the reef is, it's good. It's just future ancient history. So let's talk about Scott Del Fuego for a moment, and then I'm going to end the live stream. And then I'll post the video of the beach in front of my house that at one time when I moved here at the end of 2014, maybe there were 8 boats on the beach. Maybe 8 boats, and maybe 2 or 3 boats went out diving on the weekends only. Now, outside, right on the same beach, 32 big boats, 12 passenger to 24 passenger to 36 passenger, 32 big ones, 20-something small ones, and 30 boats on the beach waiting to go out to the reef. And when I said, where are all these boats going, to one of the dive masters, he said Balakasog Island. And Balakasog Island is an island about 2 miles from here. And I said, no, they're not. And he said, what do you mean? I said, Balakasog has a maximum of how many people can dive Balakasog. Oh, yes, that's right. Right. 200 people a day, Balakasog. But yet, 1,000 people a day are coming to the beach. So that if you are a diver, if you want to see BOHOL's last best kept secret, I suggest you get here. Thanks for watching. Oh yes, Scott's Scott's got one song that I named it. I get to name it. I'm gonna call it the $3 bill. And it's about a blogger. And if anybody lives in America or knows what a $3 bill is, we have a $3 bill amongst us. Just a matter of time before he comes out of the closet. Thanks for watching. And of course, I'm being Permy, which means take care always. Should have that video up with 60 to 80 boats that you can see before your eyes, where once there may have been 7 or 8. 1,000 people, where at one time there might have been 100 people a day. And that's just in front of the house, double or triple that at the other end of the beach. And you can say goodbye to Dragon Head Reef. I'm being Permy, which of course means take care always, from the Philippines, baby.